Hey, it's Fort Worth Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
And welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, gay, relationships, and
sex.
And today's topic is called Girls' Disgust Threshold and What It Means to You. And a lot of guys don't even know what this is.
No.
And you may have dealt with it, but hopefully it'll give you some clarity on girls and sex and why they can't talk about it.
Yeah.
And why they can do certain things, in the moment.
We actually hope you've dealt with this. You just didn't know how to
know there's a name for it.
Yeah.
And there's been research on it. So disgust threshold is like on a scale from like 1 to 10 where a person becomes like nauseous or it resists something that's happening, it's hard to how would you
It's hard to explain without like it being like really gross. Like poop and anal and like
well, just kind of like
but it goes across the board.
You tell a girl, put your hand in this poop, and she can't do it.
Yeah.
But if she's changing a diaper, her disgust threshold is higher.
Yeah.
She can do it.
The threshold for it is higher.
Yeah, exactly. Situational thresholds allow them to do, and so that's why, like you talk about, like, coming on her face. Anal sex, any of these things, like you just throw it out there like a softball or like run the balloon up to see how she'll respond. And she responds badly.
Yeah. Outside of the bedroom. But the research shows that when a girl is aroused sexually, her disgust threshold goes up. Like, as in, it gives you more room to work. Yeah.
Say it's always at a 3 generally, and then it'll go to a 7.
That's a big jump.
Yeah,
but it's true.
It's true. They'll do all kinds. You're like, how do they do that? Because and they don't know either.
No.
It's completely situational.
Alcohol helps.
Alcohol does. You know what? It's true. That's one of the things that they may not consciously or unconsciously, use.
Yeah. It is sex fuel for a reason.
But that's why a lot of times what we convey to you guys, girls generally, not all, but most, can't talk about sex outside of the bedroom.
Yeah.
And they sure don't want to talk about anything
that
crazy.
Kind of stuff.
Crazy stuff. And there's all kinds of, mental gymnastics to go into that. But what's important to know is that you can use this to your advantage.
Yes.
In a way that works with her too.
Yeah.
Because she's able to do things in the bedroom under those circumstances that she wouldn't normally be able to even talk about.
Yeah.
So you can introduce things, and she can handle it, and it doesn't throw her off.
Exactly. It's true.
So the disgust threshold is what she's able to process in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of guys. Can you give any examples? I mean,
yes. I think there are lots of examples of this that, again, it's kind of hard not to be like, without it only being about the butt, but it's really not. Like, it genuinely can be as simple as just the fact that you're so wet, or, it can be the simple parts of sex also that she doesn't talk about or cannot talk about outside of the actual action of being aroused and having sex. But in the moment, it's sexy. And so she keeps going with it. And she trusts you and she goes by your leading and you keep pressing until she essentially says, stop.
Right.
But, I would say anal sex is like a more extreme example of how disgust threshold and disgust, not disgust. Like,
oh yeah,
it sounds the same.
Yeah, disgust.
Yeah.
Disgust.
But like, there are guys who want to pee on their girls. There are guys who want the girl to pee on him. Like there are extreme versions up to like more BDSM kind of stuff and more kink kind of things that the girls may just slowly inch up to going along with it, depending on how big of a swing it is. But they can't talk about it, and it's only going to happen in the bedroom carefully. You know, it's not you know, it's not going to happen overnight, but their tolerance for it is so much greater in the moment because it's hot. We're aroused as women, we're aroused, and when we are aroused and we're having passionate intimacy, all bets are off. I mean, everything goes to a certain extent. So, you know, it's pretty fun.
There you go.
But it's also fun, and I mean, not to interrupt you, but I will say it's also fun. Girls really, I think guys vastly underestimate how much girls love that in the bedroom with someone they trust and are aroused by, they can let everything go. And I don't mean like that they have to be in some deep, intimate relationship. I don't mean that. Just that they know that they're not going to like get strangled to death or.
Yes.
I mean,
they're
to be
safe
clear,
within boundaries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not talking about that you can't do this with fuck buddies or
Right.
someone who's a casual hookup. I mean, they genuinely just kind of like, they know you're a decent guy.
Right,
you know,
right.
you're not going to fuck
Trustworthy.
them up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're not going to harm them.
Yeah, you're not going to harm them. But girls love the feeling of just like, you'll close your eyes sometimes in sex and just like be like, this is amazing. Whatever he wants, he gets. I mean, it's just, you just kind of let it all go, and that's exactly where this kind of thing comes into play. You can literally do whatever you want to do.
Right.
Because we trust you that you're not going to destroy our bodies
No.
or, you know, do something really bizarre.
And I think that's one thing that you and I have talked about before, like what men don't realize, women are cautious of him doing something that actually physically injures her.
Yeah.
You know, that's a very real, like.
I think that's why there's a lot of like the hand stopping the legs and like, you know, in all kinds of positions that, you know, the girls will kind of like brace themselves. It's not like a sexy thing. It's like a tense thing, a tension thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're actually pushing away in a way, and that's telling you she's freaked out.
Yeah.
You know, she's freaked out. It's
So that's the real deal. That's what disgust threshold is.
Yeah.
You've probably encountered it, or you know, you've dealt with it. You just didn't know you dealt with it, and it kind of explains like why girls can do certain things under certain circumstances.
Well, and I would say that one of the ways to know if you've dealt with it or not is if you try to talk about it later after the fact and she wants nothing to do with it.
Nope.
That was all you. That wasn't me at all.
Exactly. That was all you is a classic phrase.
Yeah.
And I was not, hell, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know, that's what.
they genuinely just kind of tune it out after the fact. They know it was hot.
Yeah.
But
and let us convey, this has nothing to do with you or how much she likes you or loves you or
true.
how much you turn her on. This is deeply ingrained through the parents and through upbringing and girlfriends and stuff that doesn't matter. Because she still wants to be with you. She just can't talk about it outside of the bedroom.
Exactly.
You know, it has nothing to do with you as a person.
And I will say that girls' disgust threshold inches up. If you want something that you're not doing sexually that's a little bit more kinky or, you know, extreme in comparison to what you're doing right now, it could be mild in comparison to what other people do. It's a sliding scale. You can slowly inch your way up towards that, but it has to be incremental. It has to be, you know, a slow process, and you can't always be pushing towards it. It has to be a long game effort, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you do. I mean, you can't be impatient.
Yeah.
And you know, it just depends on where you're headed.
Impatient guys, that's who ruins girls to anal sex.
Yeah.
You know, guys
who
are like determined that they're going to fuck her ass, you know, on the third date. And literally, she's destroyed. Like, I mean,
she's like never done it. And she's not interested.
And she never does it again.
No.
She's absolutely PTSD over it.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that kind of thing, I think, comes up probably more often than not as far as the disgust threshold goes.
Very interesting. Do you have anything to add?
I think I've talked enough.
That's great. So, guys, if you like this podcast, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends.
We want you to win.